Awesome, wonderful. Why don't we start? Sorry, our slide did not work out. Databricks technology issues. Very good morning, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Harish Arora. I'm part of EY's technology consulting practice, and I lead AI and data architecture engineering for the financial services in the US. I am so honored and so humbled to be joined by three pillars of AI at Edward Jones: AI capability, change, and capacity. Lindsay, Thomas, Paul, I have truly enjoyed getting to know you over the last several years and look so forward to our conversation today. But before we kick in, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your firm, and the unique AI role that you play in the firm?
Lindsay Turner, nice to meet you all. I have been in analytics and AI between financial services and the healthcare industry for the last 15 years and was a financial advisor at a regional bank before that. So let me tell you a little bit about Edward Jones for those of you that don't know much about us. We were just ranked 303 on the Fortune 500 list. We have over 19,000 financial advisors at Edward Jones, which makes us the third largest wealth manager by advisor count, trailed by LPL Financial and Merrill Lynch. By the end of the year, we'll have more certified financial planners than any other wealth manager in the industry. So we fall just behind the industry average as far as practice size, which is assets under management, and productivity or revenue. And it's because we operate a little bit differently than our competitors. We don't require minimums on our accounts, which allows us to serve a broader range of socioeconomics from a client perspective. And as a whole, we manage today $2 trillion in assets. That puts us behind Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. And then we're just about similar to Wells Fargo as far as the assets that we manage. We are a partnership structure, so we're a privately owned company. We don't focus really on maximizing profits, and we're not driven by a stock price. So that really allows us to operate differently, that we focus on making long-term decisions and long-term investments. And then lastly, I'd say we have a really broad client base across the US. We have 9,000 more branches that in the US than our next competitor. At Edward Jones, I lead our enterprise data science, analytics, and business intelligence execution functions and partner with these two guys to get it done.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thomas?
Thanks, Lindsay. Thomas Renfert. I'm a director of AI integration. I'm newer to this world, newer to the role. Part of my job is to help understand where we're going to leverage these AI capabilities that we're doing, liaison between both tech and firm analytics and firm strategy. And so really excited to be a part of that and figure out where's the right things for us to do for the firm. So one thing that I think is really special about Edward Jones, we just celebrated our 101st anniversary. And so we've been serving clients for over 100 years. And so really proud of that, that we can do that. And so that's something that we really hold dear to our hearts, that we've been working with clients for so long. So that's me. Paul?
Okay, so let me say, first of all, I'm the tech director. I'm absolutely immersed in technology, and I'm really distracted to see how well this thing keeps up with my accent, because I've never had a voice to text that actually worked for me. So, like I said, I'm the person that's responsible for the cool tech side of it. In a lot of ways, I think my job is really much easier than the job that Lindsay and Thomas have. Anything that stores, moves, classifies, gets value, or analyzes data, essentially any of those tools or platforms fall into my organization. I also have a number of data engineering teams that use the tools and actually provide the content for others, but moving the complex data engineering, moving content through the pipelines. I've been at Jones for a little over 2.5 years. The number of gray hairs on my head indicate that I've been in the industry a little longer across a number of different places. I've worked in aerospace and defense. I've been in med tech, bio, pharma, energy. I've been in a number of different places, a number of different roles. The one thing that is pretty consistent is data is data. It's all zeros, it's all ones. The thing that's a little different, I think, when I compare some of my previous roles to the role at Edward Jones. You heard Lindsay talk about the scale that we have. The competitors that we have in the place really don't have anything like this scale. They have maybe more assets under care. They don't have as many clients. They don't do it with as many financial advisors or as many branches. So that presents a lot of different challenges for us in terms of actually providing data analytics and other operational data platforms. Something that I think is really special, something I noticed, I hired on to Edward Jones during COVID. I'm still a remote employee. One thing I didn't quite notice was this tradition that they have when they host internal town halls, or when we host internal town halls. There's always this concept of an empty chair. We probably should have had an empty chair at the table here. That empty chair represents the client and the customer. We're very deliberate about this. Thomas and Lindsay have talked about it. We're very deliberate about putting our clients and our customers first. Every conversation that we have, every decision that we make is made with that in mind. I just thought that was a really special part of Edward Jones culture to share.
Wonderful. No, that's very, very impressive. Thank you for sharing that. I think to set a goal for ourselves over the next 30 minutes or so, I would love this to be a very interactive conversation, and more importantly, learn from your experiences, learn from your insights, and as much as possible, learn from the real life examples, whatever you're able to share. For our audience, I know it's a little unconventional to have a panel with all three panelists from the same firm, but that's exactly what I'm super pumped about. I'm pumped that we will be able to learn the what, why, and how of AI from the different vantage points of the diverse role that each one of them play in their firm. So without any further delays, why don't we start with the what? Lindsay, starting with you. What is knowledge power to you? I know that's the title of our panel as well. What is knowledge power to you, and how is it connected to the firm strategy?
Yeah, so at Edward Jones, we say that knowledge-powered means building a human-centered, innovative, and responsible approach to harnessing the collective experience that we have. And as Thomas mentioned, we're in our 101st year of business, so that collective knowledge, experience, wisdom is really vast. It spans across 52,000 employees that we have today, collectively over 500,000 years of experience, and then the data and the knowledge that we've collected from our more than 8 million clients. So as far as what knowledge powered means for our strategy, at the end of last year, we set our new 5-year plan for the firm, and we have a really bold strategic ambition. And that's to improve the financial wellness of tens of millions of long-term investors across North America. And we know that we can do this by providing comprehensive financial planning and professional advice to make us the most client-focused, knowledge-powered, relationship-first advice firm in the industry. So from a strategic perspective, it's a really ambitious growth agenda that we have. And we know that in order to do that, we need to build and scale new capabilities, and AI is at the center of those new capabilities that we'll be building.
Wonderful. I love that. I also remember one of the writings from your CEO where the translation of AI was less so artificial intelligence, but truly the advisor intelligence, and having the human at center truly makes it possible. Yep. Thank you. Thomas, connecting that, what are the examples of how AI is transforming the way advisors interact with the clients?
Yeah, thanks. So we're bridging both trying to learn new capability, build foundation, while also providing value to our clients. And so we've got kind of 3 major things we're working on, along with other proof of concepts, and we'll get to that in a second. But one of it is what we call enterprise search with generated answers. And so we have just tons of information. We call it Jones Link, and there's 67,000 pages out there. And so how do we put that to use for our advisors and for our branch teams? And so asking a question to get a generated response based on all of that. So that's rolling out right now. We're also looking at how do we practice with some assistance, whether it's advice and guidance that an FA may be interacting with some clients. There's other places where we're looking at how we bring that assistant kind of thing to our branches, again, while they're working with clients. And the other one is, we call them proactive insights or nudges. Sometimes it's referred to as next best action. How are you, when a client is having interaction with an FA, How are they really having the deeper conversations? How are they making sure that, oh, hey, this person, based on some data, you might want to ask them about this, or you might want to talk to them about that. Because of all the data that we can have those nudges to our FAs to have those really crisp and deeper conversations with clients. And so that's really powerful for our branches.
I love that. Thank you. And I also recall somebody at your firm mentioning Copilot not as a software, rather Copilot truly as a metaphor to be the digital companion to the advisor.
Absolutely, yeah. When they're having the conversations with their teams, how we bring the information to them to be able to interact real time. And so, yeah, the Copilot is what we call it, but not to be confused with Microsoft Copilot.
Wonderful. Thomas, Paul, extending this thread, you're in the hot seat of technology and data. What are the typical technology data challenges you have to overcome to deliver on these capabilities and more so industrialize these capabilities?
Well, so I love to simplify things. I'm going to simplify even the knowledge-powered definition a little bit. I just think of knowledge-powered as right data to the right people at the right time for the right reason. It makes it easy for me, I think, to think of it that way. The point with actually pulling all this data together is actually to facilitate not just an insight. I think we've got stuck in the business in the BI world of just delivering insights instead of actually insights that prompt an action, that actually get to a real action. And I think about an insight without an action is like a light bulb without a switch. So the light bulb always has the potential to illuminate something, but unless you actually connect it with power, nothing's going to happen. It's just potential. So I just wanted to connect that first of all. Now, to get with the challenges, there are data silo challenges, quality challenges, technology challenges, change management, culture. Think about the data first of all. We're a 100-year-old company. We have data silos. We have integration challenges. There are petabytes of data that have been trapped in hundreds or thousands of Jones link pages. We've had petabytes of data through our legacy Hadoop environments, which we've now unlocked and pulled into our Databricks world. We have hundreds of terabytes of data in Oracle data warehouses that are in the process of coming through our data pipeline. So really getting those silos unlocked. We've had to run through a lot of integration challenges. I'm probably going to beat on this a lot over the next 20-some minutes. The challenges are really skills-based and making sure the team have the right skills and empowerment to do the right things. And it's our job as leaders to really unlock that. When you think about data quality, I'm sure people in the room have even realized when they've tried to pull data together, what happens? You end up with missing values. You end up with inconsistencies. You end up with contradictions and inaccuracies. That has to be cleaned up. There's a robust data governance process that's necessary to do that. So we have built those. You start with building the tools, and then you have to drive the adoption, which brings me to the next point about a data culture. We've been very fortunate and very blessed in our firm that a data culture has been adopted by our senior leadership. They have our CEO, our managing partner, has come out and said, we want to be a knowledge-powered organization. Well, what is knowledge-powered? That means right data, right time, to the right people, for the right purpose. So they've encouraged us, they've funded us, they've given us the resources we need to actually move this forward. The final thing is about managing change management in general. So just having the will and the culture is not enough. There's collaboration that needs to take place across functions, across departments. I'm excited. We have 3 different organizations from Edward Jones represented in this panel today. Without all of us working together to actually drive through barriers and resistance to change, we're not going to make progress. Turns out human beings like to do what they've always done. People like to use that legacy Oracle data warehouse, not looking at anyone in particular. It takes a significant effort to encourage our teams that what we're moving to is actually not only better for them, but better for the firm and better for really for our clients.
Beautiful. No, thank you, Paul. And thank you for the Databricks plug and the Databricks conference. Love that. Wonderful. Lindsay, over to you. Can you share a few instances where, just continuing on the examples that Thomas gave, AI led to, discovery of the critical opportunities for both growth and the productivity, both sides of the coin?
Yeah, so we are a growth firm. Very few Fortune 500 companies have been around for more than 100 years, and we plan to be around for the next. And so at Edward Jones, that means that we will continue to grow. We have massive scale. It doesn't mean that we're at our max point. We're going to continue to grow. Both in the number of advisors that we employ and the clients that we serve, as well as deepening our product offerings and services for our clients. With that, we have this ambition to be the premier wealth management firm where clients come for advice and where advisors come for building and optimizing their practices. And we know that delivering AI tools will, enable them to do that. We have to have a way to quickly democratize the knowledge that we have across the firm so that we can help newer advisors learn from the best and the brightest at Edward Jones. So in that, it's that harnessing what, Penny, our managing partner, says, which is the advisor intelligence, and the secret sauce is really in the data, and then we'll use AI tools to get there. So AI is not new to our firm. We have used AI to improve our outcomes for our clients and productivity for a lot of the corporate support functions in our firm over the last decade. We have leading industry AI tools for our compliance and field supervision areas, some models in the anti-money laundering space, fraud protection, senior exploitation, and then we do a lot of AI modeling for our clients and their investor portfolio optimization. So that's all things that we have been doing. In 2023, we began our learning journey with Gen AI. As Thomas mentioned, we've got a couple pilots. We have a Gen AI chatbot in our Microsoft Teams instance that's leveraging OpenAI software and LLMs. And then we're currently piloting new enterprise search functionality. We know that that is going to be hugely impactful for the productivity of our branch teams, so that they can get quick answers at the time they need it to serve their clients. And then that will allow our call centers to focus on their time with our branch teams and financial advisors on the more complex issues they're trying to solve for their clients. We're also making good progress in that next best action space. So currently our financial advisors and our branch teams are on custom developed CRM tools, and we have next best action that has been rolled out there with lots of positive feedback from our financial advisors. And we're currently building a scaled version of that through Salesforce, which we're implementing as the new CRM tool for our branch teams that are rolling out this year.
Oh, wonderful. That's quite a lot of progress. Thomas, I sometimes feel bad for you. I feel you have a job of the lost baggage person at the airport. How do you try to strike the balance between the responsible AI governance without sacrificing the innovation and the speed and all things that Lindsay wants to roll out?
Yeah, it's not easy. So, we use responsible AI at the firm just like anyone else does. For us, we kind of put it in 5 guiding principles that align to our culture. So human-centered, and that means not just human in the loop, but also how are we have a responsibility to leverage it appropriately. Accountable, so we want to hold ourselves accountable to using AI for positive impact with our clients and with our branches, with our colleagues, with our clients. Trustworthiness, so that's the third one. It's we are going to build it, we're going to govern it, we're going to test it, we're going to do all of those things just like we would anything else, privacy in mind, security in mind, safely, do it safely. So that's the trustworthiness aspect of it. And inclusiveness, so we have vast amounts of data. Everyone deserves the power of that data, whether it's our branches or our clients. How do we make sure we're also pulling out biases, things like that? So that's really important for that inclusivity. And then transparency. So we are a regulated organization, regulated industry, I should say. And so we have to be transparent with them, but that's not enough. It's to be transparent with our clients. In our branches, how are we using this? Where are we using it? Why are we using it? That just builds trust with our clients as well too. So that's the responsible element of it. And so yes, that does come with some governance, but we're also not trying to run a race just to do technology for technology's sake. We're really trying to leverage. Yes, we want to learn. We're going to do some proof of concepts, and we're doing some of those right now. But also we're going to do things that help our clients and push those things forward. So when we go fast, we want to go fast in the things that are helping our clients. And so we've got a couple of different ways that we look at the firm in terms of how we leverage our branches for feedback and how we do that quickly and innovatively, while also making sure that we're doing it from a responsible perspective. So we're still trying to figure out that balance, but I think we've done a pretty good job to make sure we can move quickly where we want to move quickly, while also making sure we're doing it from a responsible perspective. And then there's training. Obviously, we've got ethics training that we do, AI ethics training. We've got training that we're doing for the field as well too, to make sure they understand not just how we're building it, but also how are they using it as well too. So it's not just what are we building responsibly, but is it being leveraged responsibly as well too, from prompting and responses and whatnot. So.
Wonderful. So you're saying that don't do AI just because the person next door is doing it?
Yeah, don't do AI just because somebody else did it. Make sure you're solving business problems.
Oh, I was doing it all for FOMO, but no, thank you. I think, to your point, I think doing good while doing well has been a mantra at Edward Jones, and I really love that. Paul, over to you. Why now more than ever it is important to kind of remain agile and adaptable in the technology space, or I should say in the AI, not landscape, but the AI landslide that we are living through right now?
Well, it kind of blows my mind a little bit. I thought healthcare and med tech was the most regulated industry and the toughest one to work in. And before that, I thought aerospace and defense was the most regulated. And now I am in the position of feeling the pain and the difficulty in operating in what I now say is the most regulated industry, which is finance. Look, the most important thing here is that we're actually maintaining a good pulse on what our customers want, what our branch teams want, and what our associates want and expect. Any of the efforts that we're making in the AI space are not just for the sake of playing around. They have to be, they have to actually differentiate what we're delivering. They have to be a real differentiator. For example, we don't really need to invest time in building capabilities that other people have already built. We're looking at other firms pursuing AI to gain operational efficiencies, and that's fine, and that's good, and we're doing that also. But we're really, what we're really targeting is creating personalized, targeted client experiences that are adding value. Now, the point about remaining agile, all of this requires a bunch of new skills and capabilities. And the only way I mentioned earlier the importance of training and upskilling, how we're remaining agile is by ensuring that we're giving our teams, our tech teams, the support to learn and experiment and build POCs that don't necessarily become real things. But a POC becomes an MVP, and an MVP becomes a product, and a product becomes a scaled product that's actually delivered at scale. So this constant experimentation, but with solid outcomes attached to it, not sticking to something just because others are sticking to it, failing fast, moving on. So I could talk about the number of different technologies. I get chastised by some of my peers for the number of different technologies that I brought into the firm. You bring things in, sometimes you move them on. That brings challenges in other parts of the organization. Perhaps, apologies if anyone in the room works in purchasing or sourcing, but that's a very slow-moving part of the firm, or of all firms, I think. And us being able to experiment rapidly, pick a product, jump into it, and then step away from it are an important part of really just maturing our overall delivery.
So we're going to talk about the skill set part that you talked about, but let's double down on the POCs and MVP aspects that you talked about. Lindsay, question for you. There are many studies that kind of point to the fact that 70% of AI projects do not see the light of the day, right? Partly because critical AI initiatives need ton of investment. Has it ever been a challenge to you to measure and estimate the return on investment of the value AI bring? And picture it for us, what kind of framework that you use?
So I would say not a challenge for us, but for probably different reasons. So as I mentioned before, we're a private partnership. And because of that, that allows us to work in different ways and make decisions differently. So we don't generally use ROI as a decision-making tool at the firm. We focus on long-term decisions that positively impact our three stakeholder groups. Those are our clients, our colleagues, and the communities in which we do business. So because of this, we don't focus on ROI. When we are, selling an idea or making a strategic decision or starting a new, POC or an MVP, we ask the question, does this positively impact or could this positively impact our clients, our colleagues, and our communities? And if it negatively impacts any of them, we don't do it. And if it's neutral, we probably don't do it either. We really want to make sure that there's going to be a benefit to all three stakeholder groups. And with AI, it's been pretty easy because we have a culture of collaboration at the firm, which makes us pretty different. So our most financial advisors work in competition with their peers in other companies, but our firm, our financial advisors see themselves as a support system to each other. So they are incentivized to share their best practices, to share information about their clients and challenging problems they've had to solve with their clients. And we know that AI is, as Paul said, we're not creating the next new algorithm or the next new tool. We're leveraging what's already out there, and we're using our data that our advisors are giving us on all of their best practices and their experiences, and we're using AI to scale that knowledge and information to the rest of our 19,000 advisors. And it's been a pretty easy sell for AI in our firm.
Love that. So Thomas, continuing that, as people say that people don't run out of ideas, they run out of time and resources. And like Lindsay said, perhaps everybody has a cool AI use case. How do you strike a balance between transformative yet responsible AI use case? What is your prioritization framework?
Yeah, we use, we'll call it business value, but to Lindsay's point, business value is different for us, right? That can mean different things. And so we've got kind of a framework where we're trying not to do all make it easy or productivity type savings. We'll do some of that, but we're not going to do all innovative and all differentiation. So we try to have that whole pool and look at across that space because all of them are important. So we kind of have this bucket way of looking at these things, but then also taking, again, what we consider value, the outcomes that are going to help with our clients, colleagues, and communities, and then also how difficult it is, right? If something's pretty easy and it's got a lot of value and perceived value, we're going to go after that pretty quickly, right? And so we kind of use that kind of framework as we go forward. So it's a simple kind of way, but because not everything is just like we said. Even if we did use ROI, it's not always that simple. And since we don't, we have I'll say a little bit more qualitative look at it. But so far, it's helped us really well to put the right things forward. Our branches are really excited about the things we're doing. And then also the other aspect of it, because we have 19,000 branches, we get a lot of feedback from them about where we should be focusing on. And so that's also a major push into where we are because they know what they need and where they can serve their clients better. So that's another element of value that we pull back into it.
Wonderful. So we got the funnel of use cases, Lindsay, from you. We got the prioritized set of use cases, Thomas, from you. Paul, now you're in a difficult situation, and most of our clients that we serve in the industry kind of tend to have this challenge of how do you make a decision of what use case or what capabilities and the elements of the use case you build in-house versus buy into third party, right? I mean, people say that build for differentiation, buy for parity, and that landscape continues to evolve. What does your decision tree look like?
Okay, so I'm going to double down on what I said in my last two pieces, and it just reinforces the value and the importance of training and upskilling. How can you possibly begin to evaluate a buy solution unless you've actually experimented a little bit with the build solution and you've actually got the teams that can do that? Otherwise, you end up buying something that someone else thinks you should buy other than what you feel your firm actually needs. We regularly do bake-offs. We build things ourselves, and then we'll look and we'll say, well, we could certainly roll this out. We've gone down the path of building our, we didn't build our own RAG embedding model, but we use the open source RAG embedding models, and then you go down a path where you say, well, is this worth 2 or 3 months of my best distinguished engineers' time to spend on building this? Or should we just buy this capability out of the box? And we'll lean that way, but it really starts with the skills. I'm sure, like most of the folks in the room, if you're building products, you have no shortage of SIs and boutique companies calling you on a daily basis. Some are calling you to ask if they can send an email about their services, which blows my mind. But the point is, there are many of them, but not everyone is providing affordable service. I say this with all due respect to EY. We're very happy with the service we get there, but we need to augment with our own people as well. We need to have our own skilled and talented people to build when it makes sense, when it's a differentiator, and buy when it's more of a commodity. We've done a lot of experimentation on building our own front ends into other people's products. That's what makes it real for us. That's what makes it custom for us. But that's where we will invest our time. We also have a pretty significant goal for the end of this year. And the goal for the end of this year is that anyone in the firm, I think this is lofty, but anyone in the firm should be able to build and deploy their own GPT-based app by the end of the year. Well, I don't know of too many products that can do that today. So we've got a combination of build and buy that we're working on. So hopefully that answers that. It's an it depends kind of an answer, but it's an it depends based on building our own knowledge, skill, and experience.
I love the low-code, no-code aspect of being able to allow people to build their own chatbots and the GPT applications. You discussed a lot around this skill set, and I guess my personal experience, if we consider AI as a tech transformation, it's going to be a huge mess. AI is truly an enterprise transformation requiring the change and the shift and tool set, skill set, as well as mindset. So let's talk a little bit about that. Lindsay, starting with you. AI definitely needs scale. How are you enabling the federated analytics, both from a production and consumption standpoint? And what role does your centralized function, which is a fairly large team, plays in it?
Yeah, so we moved about 7 years ago from a fully centralized analytics, data science, and BI organization to a federated model. We have teams across our enterprise and different functions of the business that do descriptive analytics and reporting. They sit closer to those functional areas, and they have that more narrow and deep subject matter expertise, which allows them to come up with better insights for the areas that they work in. And absolutely, AI is going to transform their productivity and allow them to find more insights quicker, faster, better than they would before. And then I lead our centralized data science, analytics, and BI functions that focus on more enterprise solutions. And we've just found from a talent perspective with data science, data scientists don't like to be in a silo. They want to ideate and push on mathematical theory and what is the best model to use with each other. So we do have a centralized data science team that focuses on both enterprise use cases as well as they're chaptered into functional areas like our marketing division. But they sit together, they have data science leaders that have been in that space for decades, and they really, enjoy learning from each other. I said we're a partnership, and we also work in partnership. So the way that our culture is built is that we're really team-based in our work and the decisions we do. So that structure allows for the technical skill sets to sit together, but we work across our business areas and include subject matter experts from all areas of our business, depending on what type of model we're building. And we partner with Thomas's team to ensure that we're building responsible AI, and Paul's team on the engineering and enablement side. So we put together these tiger teams for all of the AI that we're doing, and they work in partnership to build solutions together.
Love that. Am I hearing a little bit of, in the world of limited resources, don't be everyone's training wheel and take the driver's seat wherever you can?
Absolutely. Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thomas, extending that, you obviously lead the change in comm and the integration. What are the cultural shifts that you think are required to become the AI-led, AI-first company?
Yeah, I'd say there's two big ones. Obviously, data is the new gold, and we have a ton of it. So how are we teaching our branches to make sure they're having the right conversations, but also capturing that? Because again, that data can feed back into our system. So how are they capturing that in the right way? That's new for some of them. Secondly, when we have all this data, we have this unstructured data, how are we keeping it up to speed? So knowledge, content creation, and curation, that's really, really important. And then the big one on the mindset from a cultural perspective is just as our branches have to process and analyze conversations with their clients, that critical thinking is going to be super important when they're leveraging these tools. So our branches are in different journeys on their AI journey. So when they're using these things like enterprise search or some of these assistants, that they're still having that human in the loop. They're using that critical thinking, that they can't just take it, run with it. They have to understand it, analyze it, process it, and then put it to use, put it to action, like Paul was saying, but in the right way. Because there are going to be nuances where I'm going to want to go over here. I know my clients a little bit better. And so that mindset of making sure they're still in the loop, human in the loop, and using that critical thinking is going to be really, really important.
Like that. Paul, perhaps the similar question to you. What do you envision as the future of data pipelining, data engineering, and how are you enabling and activating your team to embrace that change?
Well, there's a little bit of a difference about traditionally how we've done data engineering. It's been very much the siloed approach, where a team will do what they need to do for that specific purpose. So really now I believe the industry is going more towards data products, or maybe even as far as data as a product, where we have federated development. You have citizen teams still doing their own development for their own purposes, but actually publishing that back for broader consumption by the rest of the enterprise instead of just for them. We have the technology capabilities to be able to do that in a secure and private way. And we also have the tools, the capabilities, and now the will to do centralized governance on this. And I don't mean centralized governance in that you have this one team of people who are just, they are the czars of data, and they will not let anyone. I mean centralized governance processes where people work within the same framework to ensure that, for example, if someone is entitled to be able to see a certain kind of data in a certain operational system, when that goes into the analytics environments, they should have that same access. That requires a very coordinated and centralized identity and access management policy. So we built the tooling to do that, or we're rolling it out, we're deploying it, now we're raising the awareness of that. It is a big change management exercise. It is a big upskilling and training exercise.
Awesome. I know we are about a time. I do want to say, Lindsay, Thomas, Paul, huge thank you for your passion and for sharing your insights. And thank you everyone for attending today. Thank you.